게티즈버그로 떠납니다.
Here we are on New Gettysburg for game number 2. Game number 1 was very quick. Up, or rather, down here in the bottom left in the purple, it is Stats. He's got to win 2 in a row.
And his opponent to the bottom right in green, it is Solar. With a speedling drop all in, breaks the wall, kills the Zealot, wins the game. Let's talk about this this very aggressive style we are seeing from Zergs in this tournament, in all matchups. I mean, we saw yesterday True was heavily the aggressor with speedlings. It seems like we're moving into this era where speedlings are so dominant as a unit composition in this matchup, specifically for Zerg. True using heavy ling style yesterday. Ooh, nice pool block here. There's a small advantage here for Stats, but we're seeing this ling style work a lot of the time, not just with drops, but on the ground as well, and it's exciting to see that. True's always kind of been known for this style, but we saw the advent of banelings come in towards the beginning of this year with players like Dark and Rogue, making this speed bane Hydra style actually a thing. We moved away from lurkers for a little while, and now we're in this place where speedling aggression is very commonplace and almost the standard, the norm, and it's really exciting to watch. It leads for a very scary early game for Pross, as they can't be as greedy as they'd like to be, especially on a map like Galactic Process, obviously, as we just saw.
This time, Stat's going to block off that third base. Solar was able to get a very fast third base in the previous game, which led him to just, that extra production. Lots of lings able to be produced there. And, he's going to have to delay that third base now. Wait until he can kill that pylon. And I wonder what Stats has got prepared this time, because even in the chat after that game, he's like, wow, you're really scary.
Yeah.
Just after that build, that was a scary build, man. The way he just, pulled it off, and the way he looked even in the booth afterwards, just like oozing confidence right now with Solar. And I'm sure that Stats can feel it, and he's like, damn, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he knows that Solar is a fantastic ZVP player as well.
That's right.
So, I mean, New Gettysburg, Stats has shown great games on this map in the past. And I want to see if he's got something specific prepared this time around.
Well, I think it's a really cool storyline that we have here with the rematch of the Season 1 semis. I was actually doing rehearsals for the Heroes of the Storm Finals. I was in Korea at the time. I ran down here to cast out with you, then went back. That day's very memorable to me. We went to Game 7. Solar decided to all in there, and it failed in the last game. I feel like he's really matured as a player. He has so many different builds he can do. When you looked at Solar before, sometimes it was just aggression, or, he's got these timings down pat, especially in ZVZ. But now I feel like when you look at him as a player, it's hard to really pinpoint his style. And that's a scary player to play against. That's the kind of player who wins a championship, who has so many different builds, so many different styles he can play. And I feel like he's really matured a lot since then. And I think that Stats, who was once the one who defeated him earlier this year, is now massively the underdog. And already in game number 1, Solar takes it with domination. We're going to see this ling pressure I was talking about again here. Looks like just a few lings, though. 12 of them made this time. Obviously, it cost him some drones. And with the block of the third, you can see how much that affects his larva and how much he can drone and how many lings he can have on the map. Ooh, Roach Warren.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's going to go defensive or really offensive off of this, or is it just for defense, because he did scout the gateways in the main, and it's 4 total. It looks like it's going to be a pretty heavy adept timing here. Yeah. Although he is getting both of these gases, which Solar does see.
With these gases and only the 4 gateways, this is not an all-in, but it can win the game if Solar makes a few mistakes in his control, and obviously how greedy he was. With this, he has 2 overlords about to pop. He'll have a lot of larvae hitting in just a second to make roaches with as soon as the warren is complete. 6 roaches come out immediately, as you guys can see. That's going to help in the defense of this attack. And again, this is not an all-in. This is designed to do a lot of drone pressure and lead into a third base. That's why he took those extra gases, so he can transition.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that Solar goes for the roaches, because when you see 4-gated depth like this instead of the standard 3-gate timing, you got to get these roaches. And oh boy, Shade is a little bit late, and these Lings doing a lot of damage with the Roaches and the Queens.
He's going to finish that Shade, but Roaches are already here predicting this Shade. Again, he's just targeting down drones because he knows that he's not going to end the game. 26 more Lings coming out here. He's significantly behind in workers right now. He's spending all of his larva on Lings. These will shade away, and this build looks very familiar when you look at the production tab to what Neve did. Obviously with fewer gates, and this is not an all-in, which is what Neve did, was more of an all-in. He went into the Dark Shrine afterwards. He wants to warp in some DTs for harass. However, Solar does scout this, so he has time to prepare. But he's so down on drones right now, 32 to the 47.
That is such a low number, and he's got a very big army. He immediately goes back into drone production, though, so it looks like he does want to take it late. He's going to pressure a bit with the units that he's already made, maybe try to cancel this third base, but with the overcharge and the units here to follow up, Stats should be okay to hold that third.
And while these Lings are over here trying to find damage but failing, Adepts are going to come over and try to find some damage here. They will be more successful. 2 drones killed already. He's just going to target down drones. Can one-shot them here with 2 Adepts. He's just targeting has 4. Gets 7 drones, though, already. DT's used now for the defense, and a very solid defense indeed. Now it's 3 base with 32 drones to the 49 probes of Stats, and he's got plenty of Immortals out as well. He's just massively ahead in almost every way. Because of the way that the bridge works on this map and where we're at with all the units that Stats has, I don't think that Solar can use that, so attacking this base would take a long time to get across the map. He'd have to maintain an Overseer to deal with these DTs. Economic-wise, Stats is ahead, and tech-wise, I think you can really make a clear argument that he's ahead as well with these Immortals and also the DT tech he has.
We're going to see Chargelet Archon once again. I forget who that was that brought out that build.
It was SOS.
SOS, yeah. Where he actually, I don't think he did it on 3 base. It was more of a timing on 2, and he went into the main with the Warp Prism and warped in a bunch of Chargelets, and he had gone for an Archon drop before that. We're seeing a similar kind of build being done here with the double Archon. He hasn't dropped them just yet. He's actually going to try to drop 4 DTs, and this is very, efficient. You can get a lot of damage done if it's not seen, but immediately Solar does see this coming.
A Morphing Archon has a lot of shields as well, even in its animation, so during this drop, he will likely just try to do as much damage as he can with the DTs, hope there's no Overseer, and if there's spores, he just targets them down. Then he'll morph them to save them, pick them up, and continue the drop. It's very powerful. We're seeing it get a lot more popular right now, especially on this map with the close distance by air. Obviously, Solar already having a defense up, not even worth trying to drop those DTs down that would instantly die, so he's going to morph them into Archons first. And this attack that's coming over here is going to be pretty annoying to stop, in fact, pretty difficult to stop, because it's got Archon sentries and also those powerful Immortals. And the Hydra tech has not really gotten, it's not come out in full force yet. He's still trickling the Hydras out slowly here.
The only thing about this is that the Warp Prism was near the main, so Stats, if he wants to reinforce this army at all, he needs to get that up with the army.
I think the idea is to warp in perhaps at the main base while the units come over here to defend. Okay, so warp in at the natural, here it is. Sending so many charged Zealots across. These Queens at the back could get caught here. He's going to charge into the Roaches. There are a few Hydras here, and Stats' army is not all together, but neither is Solar's. And the whole top part is controlled by him, and he's starting to gain a little ground on the south side as well. This base taking so much damage. The entire Zerg army here is destroyed. The Prism gets another warping off, and that's so many more charged Zealots. This just should be game here.
Looks like it. Getting that extra warp in and winning the fight up top here at the third base is just way too much. Even though he survived here at the natural, that's going to be it. I mean, Stats is going to be able to take this GG.
All right, we're going to a game 3. Very, I feel like the damage done was too much early on. The Roaches came out. He wanted to do drops. He was shut down on multiple occasions. And Stats just had a really crisp timing there. The DTs didn't really even do anything on the aggressive side, but it allowed him to make Archons that were slightly less gas intensive and helped him defend his third base. Once he had the third base up, he had an economy that could support that attack. He had the better tech with the Immortals.
I like that build on that map because the counterattack rush distance is so long. So even if you make Roaches, you get a bunch of Speedlings to defend, you just target down as many drones as possible, you lose all your Adepts, but it doesn't matter because you do critical damage to the economy, and then the Zerg can't counterattack you. You make a pylon at the third base that you're building, you overcharge a bunch, you make DTs to defend,